I've always believed that horror and crime fiction are at their best when they've got something to say. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a book that just wants to scare you or thrill you. There's a time and a place for those, and they can be a ton of fun. But when those genres push into something beyond just surface level and are willing to dive deeper and reflect what's going on in society, that's when those genres truly shine. I recently read a book review from a critic that said people are scared of things that go bump in the night. People aren't scared of things that go bump, 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 bump in the night. Meaning, this book is way too long and it needed to be shorter to be scarier. I don't necessarily even agree with that take, and I don't think you have to look very far to find that it's not true. I mean, Stephen King has made an entire career out of selling absolute doorstopper novels that are terrifying and scaring millions of people around the world. Having said that though, I do have an affinity for short stories and novellas, especially when it comes to horror, and I think that they're often overlooked for some of these longer books. There's something awe-inspiring about an author who can get in there, get under your skin, and scare you in under 200 pages. To be able to get you to be comfortable with the characters, set up a conflict, scare and terrify you, and then wrap it all up coherently in a short number of pages takes an author at the absolute top of their game. And that's where Come Closer by Sara Gran comes in. Come Closer is the perfect marriage of those two thoughts. In less than 170 pages, Sara Gran packs in more scares and more themes than books more than twice its length. This book was recommended to me by a viewer, Tony in Quakeland, and I'm so glad that Tony left the comment that he did, because this book was absolutely mesmerizing. Come Closer is a first-person narrative of a woman named Amanda and the slow changes she undergoes. And at first, her and her husband don't really notice them, but over time, Amanda begins to believe that she's possessed by a demon. This book is evocative, and the first-person narration style serves it perfectly. You do not get any distance from Amanda with this. You don't get to follow other characters. You don't take a break from her and go to somebody else. Meaning you're constantly in her head, constantly in this story. And because you're always in Amanda's head, you're blacking out when she blacks out. You're coming to in strange places with strange people. You don't have any idea what's going on, and by the time that she or you figure it out, it's far too late to save anything. Possession horror has never really been my thing. The idea of demons just never really scared me and often left me feeling flat. Come Closer changed that quick. This book is unsettling, it's unnerving, it was scaring me, and it had me making sure I was done reading well before bedtime just to be on the safe side. And like I said, there's a whole lot of different themes underpinning this book. You could easily read this and walk away thinking this all was an allegory for successful women no longer living within societal constraints. Amanda is slowly freeing herself from the expectations that her work, her husband, and society are putting on her, and is no longer acting the way that everyone expects her to. She is allowing her true nature to come through, instead of bottling and shoving it down deep inside. She's no longer repressing her identity, and instead becomes who she's meant to be. As the story progresses, Amanda starts smoking and drinking. Casually at first, and then more and more as things get worse for Amanda. And there's this link between her addiction starting, getting worse, and becoming addictions that mirror perfectly Amanda's possession. Now, I know I'm overly simplifying addiction here, and I'm doing that for brevity in a book review video. So please don't come at me for that. I understand there's a whole aspect of psychologicalness to it. There's entire classes, courses, careers built on this. I'm condensing all of that into the next 3 sentences. So please, I understand it. But the possession in this book follows that same pattern of addiction. There's temptation, there's giving in, there's overindulgence in that temptation, refusing to believe how bad things have got, and then ultimately loss of control. Amanda not only rationalizes, accepts, and surrenders herself to smoking and drinking again, just the exact same behaviors that she does with her possession as well. And it's really easy to see this as Sara Gran's take on America's issue with addiction. And there's the feminist take on this book. A lot of conflict in this book centers on Amanda and her husband Ed's relationship. And like everything else in this book, it mirrors her possession, beat by beat. They don't notice it slowly at first, and then one day they wake up and they realize just how bad things really are. Ed has a tendency of coming home late from work, and Amanda just needs to be fine with that. She'll have made supper, have it all set up and ready to eat, and then she'll get a phone call from Ed saying he'll be home in an hour, maybe 2 tops. And then 4 hours later, he'll stroll in, be ready for bed. She just needs to accept it. It's the nature of his work, he says. But when Amanda comes home late, Ed is furious. He is upset. Why didn't she call? Why didn't she give him further notice? And she needs to apologize to Ed for making him wonder when she would get home. It's fine for him. It's not fine for her. There's another conflict when Ed decides he wants to have some of his friends over, and he doesn't ask. He just assumes that Amanda is going to be the one to make supper, or at least order out and have it ready for when he gets home with his friends. When Amanda refuses to do so, there's a big blow up, and there's another argument between the two of them. There's arguments with store clerks, security men, people on the streets, a coffee man, and they all serve to highlight this theme. And in the case of the security guard, Amanda's talking with him and he's not believing her until a man steps in, her husband Ed, and together the men solve the issue. Even though Ed's telling him the exact same story that Amanda was, he doesn't buy it until he hears it from a man. Perhaps the most unnerving part of the whole book, though, is the line between mental illness and possession becoming incredibly blurred. Amanda quickly develops a tenuous hold on reality at best, and she will dissociate for large chunks of time. And this is where that first-person narrative really aids the story the best. That first-person narrative serves to add in making the reader completely unsettled. The dissociation that Amanda feels, that's your dissociation now. Her paranoia, it's now your paranoia. As she believes her delusions, you begin to believe her delusions. By being locked in Amanda's head only, you experience her fragile reality as she slowly destabilizes, and you have no choice but to accept it and believe it every step of the way. All of these themes coalesce into an incredible story that pulls no punches until you get to an incredibly deserving finale and an absolutely beautiful final line. Come Closer is a magnificent short novel that I devoured in just 2 sittings. Like I said before, I'm typically bored and not scared at all by possession stories, and that was not the case here. I could not stop reading this. I was unsettled, I was creeped out, and I had to know how it ended. But most of all, I didn't want to stay in this world too long because it was too scary. I can't wait to read more by Sara Gran. Let me know in the comments if you've read Come Closer and what you thought of it. And if you haven't, why don't you tell me a book that you've read that has changed your mind on a genre you thought you didn't enjoy? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. At the time I'm filming this, I'm at 620 subscribers, and I would absolutely love to get to 666 subscribers, and I think doing it on the backs of a video about possession would be amazing. Until next time, keep your porch light on.